everyone. This is Dr. Saunders from Dynamic Music Studios. We're going to be here live today with Jessica Baker, our new violin and viola instructor at Dynamic Music Studios. So feel free to leave any questions or comments as you're watching or after the feed, and I'm happy to answer those. I'll also put a link to Jessica's page on our website so you can read more in depth about her. We're starting now.
Hello.
Hello. All righty. Okay. Got it. We're in good shape.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Jessica. You've been teaching a few students already in the studio, since January?
Yes, yeah.
But she did come and join us for the winter open house, so we're really appreciative that we had her for that, and played a duet ad hoc with Tina, so that was nice. All right. Well, I'm excited to chat with you. I always like doing these because then I get to know the other teachers, since we're always kind of in and out and teaching in the studio at the same time, so it's hard to chat in between. But can you tell us a little bit about your musical background? Like, how'd you get started in music, and where'd you go to school?
Yeah. So I'm from Zionsville, Indiana, which is just north of Indianapolis. And I started piano lessons actually around the age of 6. And so I did that until I was 10 or so. And then in 5th grade in Zionsville, you have to choose an instrument or do choir. And so I chose violin, and that's kind of where that started. I took one violin lesson before 5th grade, like in the summer, and learned my first scale. And so after that, it just kind of continued. I joined a fiddling club in middle school, and that was super fun. I did summer camps at Butler University for orchestra.
Okay.
Took private lessons all through middle school and high school. Yeah, and then went into music education after that. So I went to University of Indianapolis for music ed.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and so then after that, I took a couple years off of school for like gigging and private teaching. So I had a studio of usually around 55 students for several years, as well
Oh,
as playing with orchestras around Indiana and Illinois. And then I just started my time here at University of Iowa for a master's in violin performance.
awesome. Okay. So lots of private teaching experience.
Mm-hmm.
55 students a week. That is a lot of students to see. Great. And so is anyone in your family a musician, or did you have violin like in
So
the family already?
violin was not in the family. My dad's a guitarist, though. He's a nurse professionally, but he plays guitar for some churches. And my mom played piano growing up. And but yeah, that's kind of the extent of our musical family.
Okay, so not necessarily professionals, but well, somewhat. But yes, okay.
Yeah, music was in our family. Like I grew up
Yeah,
listening to my dad play guitar, and like he was in some bands, so like getting to know his band members. Yeah.
awesome. So definitely a love of music and foster that in you. So that's great. Yeah, my family is not musicians really at all. So it's always, people are always surprised, by that. But did you feel like you knew then early on that you wanted to do music as a career or as a profession?
Um, Really, no. I loved music always. Music was always just like a central part of my life, but I wasn't sure if that would be feasible professionally. So even towards the end of high school, I was kind of thinking about going into STEM or like doing some programming, or software engineering. And then it was like kind of like getting to the point where like you have to choose your major, like you're starting college. And I was just like, I think the only thing that might really make me happy would be to teach music. I think that's the only thing that I can do that would like bring me a lifetime of joy where I would love the job forever, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and so I did music ed and like, went through the student teaching experience. And I actually started teaching private lessons in high school. I think my freshman year of high school, I taught my aunt violin because she wanted to learn. And then after that, I got a couple of like 5th grade students who were just starting out. So my private teaching started when I was around like 15 or 16, and that
Well,
has just continued on. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's awesome. I think that you learn so much by teaching. So at least I know I've grown. I'm a much better musician now after having taught for a while. So great. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just checking if there's any comments or anything, but it doesn't look like it yet. Our Facebook feed on the laptop looks weird, but maybe it's just the preview looks funny. Okay, so we already talked a little bit about how long you've been teaching. So since you were 15, and then kind of throughout college and after, and it sounds like you always knew that teaching was something that you wanted to do as opposed to necessarily be only performance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which is sometimes unusual because some people like kind of fall into teaching as a way to supplement their performing, but it sounds like you wanted to do the teaching kind of along the way the whole time. So that's great. What would you say is your teaching philosophy, or a overview of your teaching philosophy?
Just like really generally, I think it starts with believing everybody can, anybody who wants to and has the like drive to work on a new skill can learn it. So, yeah, that, and I think paired with like consistently practicing, it's really important, and that's not something that I really fell into until later. So like if I can do anything to encourage my students just to pick up the violin and play it just every day for just a few minutes, I think that's really important. But yeah, everybody can do it, and to do it, just consistent hard work and support from your teacher and your family, having an environment where you feel safe to make noise and sound and experiment. Yeah.
Yeah, because early on, any instrument, anything, there's going to be lots of interesting sounds coming out.
Yeah.
Even for singers, like we do lots of funny noises and things like that, and so students are always surprised, like some of the sounds that I make them make, in lessons. So, and I liked what you're saying about support. I was talking with Sarah, our piano teacher, last night, and we were talking about how important the parents are, especially early on, in helping with practice habits. So, that they're a part of that process and setting that structure for young students because they just don't have that skill yet to do it themselves. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So, great. And then can you tell us a little bit about how you like to structure your lessons?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on like the age of the student and where they are in their development. But usually start with some kind of scale or like a scalar warm up. And then if we're doing etudes, that would be like a technical exercise, maybe working on string crossings or tone, and then repertoire. So that would be the songs that we're playing, which obviously like, well, there's a ton of different books that I use for that, but Suzuki books I often use. I don't teach strictly the Suzuki method, but I think the books are well designed, and I like the order in which they teach the skills. So
great. Yeah. Yes, I think that's pretty common. So I would like, a lot of people like those Suzuki books and that method. And it's nice if you can kind of supplement here and there as well. So I already kind of mentioned what they work on. I probably should like make that one question because it's all kind of the same, but you already talked about what they work on in lessons. And what would you say is your favorite skill to teach?
My favorite skill to teach. I really like teaching shifting. So for violin and viola, your first notes are like in one part of the fingerboard, but you can actually go to the whole rest of the fingerboard and make different sounds. And that's what we call shifting, like moving positions. And there's so many cool sounds you can make with shifting, so many expressive things you can do with shifting. So I really like teaching that. And also in the orchestra, when I'm playing, I usually am playing the like most soprano line, like often very high notes. And so I'm just attracted to those sounds, and I like to show other people like how we can make them. So
okay, fun. Awesome. What lesson offerings do you have currently in your studio as far as lengths and any options for partner or group classes or lessons?
yeah, so for duration of the lesson, it's 30 minutes, 45, or an hour usually. Um, And right now I'm not doing any group classes, but I would love to. Once I have like gotten a few more students and have a more full studio, I think that'd be really fun. Even just like maybe some basic classes on like vibrato or doing like a group scale type class, like technical exercises. I think that could be fun. So I hope that we can work that out so I can do that. Yeah.
Yes, you have to, if students are interested in that, then let us know and we definitely have the space for that. So that's awesome. And do you have a preference on lesson length, like depending on age or like I'm a really big fan of the 45-minute lesson, at least for me. Like I start around age 8 is my preference, and it's a really nice length really for most levels and ages. But do you have a preference?
I think at the minimum 30 minutes. Like I've tried before to do 15 or 20-minute lessons. There's just not enough time to
Mm-hmm.
get it all done. And like for violin, you got to unpack and get tuned and get all this stuff. Like that takes time as well. So, yeah, 30 minutes. And for ages, I really prefer to teach 7 and up personally. So yeah, usually 30 minutes for a 7-year-old. And then towards middle school, if we can do 45, that's best because when we do scales and etudes and rep, like there's just a lot to do. And I also sometimes do music theory, like we do a music theory workbook.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so yeah, 45 is great. If the student can really focus for an hour and there's time for that, an hour is really ideal, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's probably especially if the student is like really serious and maybe wants to go to school for that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that's always best to have that longer length and have more time to spend on all those different skills. Um, do you have, what would you say is your studio culture and any student accomplishments that you're especially proud of? I know you're kind of new teaching in this area, but in the past, anything that you want to share?
Yeah, in Indiana, we have state violin ensemble competition every like January, February. So pretty much any student who is eligible to do that, I kind of push them to do that. I think that it's really important to play for other people and like going through the stress of preparing for a deadline and then, performing that. And the feedback that you get is from another, serious professional musician. It's very high quality feedback usually. So, I've taken numerous students through state for golds, and then you go to the state competition again. So I've had some students who are successful in that. I also taught sectionals at Brownsburg High School for 3 years, and during those 3 years specifically, I was there. Their top orchestra did go to state for large ensemble competition just in those 3 years that I was there. So that was really special to be a part of them, getting prepared for that and pushing the repertoire because previously they had not gone to state, but they were able to do that. So I'm really proud of that.
Awesome.
And then also in Indiana, I usually do several recitals a year, if I can. I was teaching at some different studios, so it kind of varied, but usually some kind of winter one and then a summer one. And that's always a lot of fun. And the reception that follows, lots of like good company and treats. The students love the cookies.
Uh,
So yeah, that's always a really good time.
yeah, I always love seeing the students performing and just showing what they've been working on, and it's a great
Mhm.
celebration. I know sometimes students are scared to perform, but it's really about just showing what skills you've learned throughout the year and sharing that with people, and so it's really special to have.
Yeah, and celebrating the
Yeah,
hard work. Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
party. Yeah.
yeah, yes. um so great. And then let's see here, what would you say, how do you feel like you are balanced being a gigging musician and teaching, and I suppose for you too it'd be school? How do you try to balance all of those aspects of your life?
Yeah, it's challenging, especially with school. It consumes a lot of my time, and I am teaching. Maybe I have 12 or so students right now between everywhere that I'm teaching, but also the gigs too. Like, I won't lie, it's a lot of late nights and early mornings, like consistently. But I think it helps that I really love my job and I really love what I'm doing. So like, it's a lot of time spent doing it, but it's like I love it. It's a lot of fun, even though I had to like be here at 8 a.m. for a trio coaching. That's okay. It's good. So
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So making sure that you really enjoy it, especially for those late nights and early mornings, and reminding yourself that that's why you're, doing what you do.
yes.
Yes. Lots of driving, I think, for any musician. So, yeah, good audiobooks and podcasts or whatever, or music to listen to. Do you have any current music related special projects then that you're working on? I guess you were talking about you had a trio coaching, so anything
Yeah.
else?
So I'm doing a Mozart trio, which has been a lot of fun. I did Brahms horn trio last semester, and I was working with a really good group. And our horn player graduated. Me and the pianist from that group are doing the Franck Violin Sonata, which is just like one of the most beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard. And I got to choose that piece, so that was fun. So we'll prepare a recital for the end of the semester where we play Franck, Ravel posthumous sonata, as well as probably some showpiece. And then more like currently, in a couple weeks, I have an audition at school for an assistantship, so preparing for that. And then recently I got hired on for some candlelight concerts. I don't know if you've ever seen those. It's like, yeah, so
Yeah.
we're doing a Valentine's Day set in Des Moines, and in Waterloo on the 15th. We'll be performing like a Coldplay Imagine Dragons set.
Okay.
So,
So some
yeah,
popular music. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, it's always kind of fun to hear those pieces on classical instruments, Uh, so no K-pop Demon Hunters yet.
No, not yet, but I'm sure anytime now, the next wedding I do could be a K-pop Demon Hunters
Yeah.
theme. So,
So I know that's popular in my studio. So, and my daughters, they both love that music. So, okay, what are some hobbies that you have outside of music?
outside of playing my instrument, I do listen to a lot of music. I like to cook, not so much baking, but I like to cook.
Okay.
I like to spend time outside, going to parks, hiking. Um, I do read. I read mostly nonfiction, but yeah, usually have something going on in reading. I watch some movies. I don't have a ton of time to watch TV, but when I do like to watch a movie. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, anything else that you'd like to share about yourself, your teaching, your performing?
No, it's really been a pleasure to get started with Dynamic, and the students that I have, I just adore. It's been a really good time starting with them. So, thanks for doing this interview with me.
Yeah, we're really happy to have you on board, and I think that you already seem like a good fit with our culture at the studio. So we're excited to have you with us and grow your studio. So if anyone has questions after this goes up on Facebook, feel free to pop them in the comments, and we'll be sure to respond. And if you want to get connected with Jessica, you can email us at info@dynamicmusicstudiosia.com, or go to our website and send us an inquiry there. And thanks again for joining us today for this chat, and have a good rest of your Friday or Thursday, and rest of your week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll see you.
Bye.